Hello and welcome to 138 Narrows West Road on Salt Spring Island. I'm Julian Bruce with McDonald Realty, and I am co-listing this property with my colleague Heidi Kurt. Well, in my opinion, this is the premier oceanfront building lot on Salt Spring Island. It offers quite a lot of desirable attributes. It's 3 acres with favorable zoning and multiple locations for build sites. It is very private. It has an incredible waterfront feature of this peninsula that I'm standing in front of, and it is flanked by 2 pebble beaches on either side. Great western sun exposure with beautiful sunsets, great driveway, a 4-gallon-a-minute well, and the list just goes on and on. So I'll get started with a video tour of this property. So as I mentioned, there's this beautiful peninsula here that juts out somewhat in the middle of the property. It's quite the red tide today, as you can see. But we've got pebble beaches on either side of the property. The property does go into the beach on this side a little bit, maybe around halfway. And then on this side of the property, we go right up to the far edge of the beach at the high tide mark. The neighbor on this side is a bit closer, just at the water's edge though. There's quite a lot of privacy actually from the beach, even though you're closer to the house, as that house is built very close to the water. But of course, you've got the other beach here as well. And all the build sites on the property have a ton of privacy from both neighbors. So this is lot 4. Lot 5 is to the south, and lot 3 is the one I was just showing you to the north. And if we look on the map, we're just at this peninsula here. This is that main bay, and this is the other bay here. This other line in here is a pre-geotech surveyed area. I'll outline the general location of this. It's not to say that you couldn't build outside of that area, but that is the area that has been kind of pre-approved for geotechnical stability, from my understanding. I've added a bit of blue surveyor's tape to identify some of the property boundaries, especially along this edge here. And yeah, we'll get started. The well's located up here. Great building spots up here as well. And then, of course, the primary spot down here is really the best. The property being 3 acres does allow for a main house, a cottage, and about 2,000 square feet of accessory buildings such as garages, studios, that kind of thing. So I'll just kind of come over to this beach first. It's a couple this big arbutus and the 2 firs that have come down on the beach that makes it a little hard to access, but you can see how beautiful it is through there. Let me just zoom in a bit. Pretty steep right here along this cliff edge. But it's a really nice buffer along the waterfront here, having this kind of raised cliff that, you know, we're well above the high tide mark here, it seems. And even at the peninsula, kind of where I have the chair, seems to be above the high tide mark as well. So lot 3 here comes right up to the property boundary. We can see a little bit of surveyor tape just right here, and again on a piece of rebar right here. Based on GPS, that all seems very accurate. And of course it goes way up the hill in that direction. There isn't really a great way down to this beach at this time. Right here is kind of the best option, but with my hands full with the camera, well, you know what? It's not that bad. I'll just leave the map here. Just make sure you go safely if you want to come down to this beach. So there's a bit of a loop trail that goes around the ideal building site. One way up that's a bit steeper is along that ridge and goes up to that surveyor's tape you can see right there. But this is certainly the easier way. Another nice view down to that beach. So this is the edge of the property right there at that iron pin. If I look at the map, we are right here right now. And this also is the corner of this geotech area. So the other side of this geotech area is just at that, on this property side of that water storage tank. So the water storage tank you can see is just off the property. It's hard to actually see it on this map right there. But that's the width we're talking about. It's quite a distance over there. So that entire span is part of the pre-geoteched area. We're calling it the geo envelope on the map online. It's a little bit of a waterway. There's actually some water in it right now that just heads on down to the beach over there. But yeah, a nice little stone path that my colleague and I did a lot of cleanup on this property and driveway to get it nice and walkable. So actually, before I keep going, I'll maybe just loop around to the other side of this trail. There are these beautiful white flowers here to watch your step for as you walk down. We've added a little bit of logs to help mark this trail. Well, I won't head all the way down, but it's actually not so bad of a trail at all. The last few steps are worth taking slow and easy, but quite the view from here. And we can see one of the geotech markers right there as well. Oops, right there. So that really indicates the front, probably that pin right there. And this is where the trail reconnects with the loop. And this is the end of the driveway. I didn't actually clear this lower section as I don't want folks driving down here, as there isn't a great way to turn around. But the ideal parking spot is just where you see my vehicle up here. You can really get a sense of the scale of the build site from here, though. A lot of great options to end the driveway up here as well, though, and have a upper level entry with a lower level to the house, or just lots of options on how to build on this lot. So I cleared a little bit of a pullout here, so if you drive up into this spot, you of course can just back up into here and then head back up the driveway. So there is a pin up on this ridge. There we go. Oh gosh, where did it go now? There it is, right up there. So that's the property edge. I believe that's actually, sorry, this one here. And at this point is actually where the property does narrow up a bit. So as you can see, it kind of cuts back in at this point here. Oh, hard to get focus. And just follows the driveway back up. So we are likely just outside of the pre-geotech area, just kind of being more at the foot of this hill here. A really nice feature of this property is this ridge here that provides a lot of natural privacy from the main build site to lot 3. So this is the iron pin right here. And we head kind of straight down the hill like that. I've added a bit of blue surveyor's tape on this side of the property. For the most part, the property goes up to kind of the hill where it starts to slope up. And on this side, it is for the most part following the driveway. There's a bit of a bump into the driveway right here. You can see some pink surveyor's tape on that little tree right there. This here is just another really nice, flat, natural building site here. I've added a bit of surveyor's tape. Again, these markings are based on GPS data from my cell phone. Take it with a grain of salt. It does seem to flare out. There's another marking up the hill there, flares up a bit and then travels along. And there's some surveyor's tape that was already on the property further down there. I'll show you as we get closer to that part. But this just is a nice flat area right next to the driveway, and again with big views all the way across. Yeah, the zoning could allow for a main house down below with a garage, and then another cottage up here with its own garage as well, all as detached structures. This is another great spot to park. And this is where we've got the well. Luckily it's got a nicely labeled well tag, so I was able to confirm that this is the 4 gallon a minute well. So this was where the blue tape is, right up here. It was a little higher up. The GPS suggested higher up than I expected. There is some pink flagging on this side. You can see it right there. But I thought the property came in a little further at this point, but that's probably pretty accurate, within a couple meters. Right, so that's that pink right there. There is another marker way up the road. It's hard to see way up there. I have a suspicion this is the point, in which the property flares out here. This is certainly kind of the narrowest part of the property at the end here. And of course, this section here goes right up to the road. And I think now that last narrowest section starts here at this hydro pole that goes down to lot 3 at this point. So there's an easement for this, or right away, that allows it to cross the driveway here and head down. But that's where, of course, power for this property would also come from that spot. There's quite the spot for your civic address here. That's quite the beautiful standing stone there. And this well is actually for lot 3. This is off of the property, as we're right up against the property boundary with the driveway. So this marker here is the end of the property, actually. So it's actually all road allowance from here to Narrows West Road. This section at the very end is also a shared driveway with lot 3. You can see they've added a gate here that's technically on the road allowance, so I'm sure there's no problem in doing that for this property as well if you'd like. And we actually have, this is within the road allowance, a water supply for the fire department here. Those look like big, maybe 5,000 or 7,000 tanks, so lots of storage there. And there's a nice civic address for 132 on that sign, but the sign for 138 is currently a bit overgrown. I hope to take care of that. Well, that just about covers it for the video tour of 138 Narrows West Road. It's a beautiful property, nice and close to town. There is a beautiful river nearby that runs down towards Bader's Beach. It's easy to hear right now. I'm not sure if this microphone will pick it up, but yeah, a beautiful area, lots of nice homes. There are actually strata lots on the non-waterfront side of the road and non-strata lots on the waterfront side. And the strata lots are just bare land and share a waterfront access at the end of Narrows West Road. Well, I hope you found the video helpful. If you do come to view this property and you're not in a four-wheel drive car, probably best to park by the well or perhaps at the upper building site. It's a nice driveway. It's fairly well graded, but it is a gravel aggregate driveway still. Yeah, I think that just about covers it. Of course, do reach out if you have any additional questions about this property. Thanks for watching.